ABS-CBN, in the service of the Filipino worldwide.
Maalala mo kaya ang sumpa mo sa akin na ang pag-ibig mo ay sadyang di
Dear Charo, I am just an ordinary worker who dreams for my parents and me to live comfortable and contented. I work with enough income for us, but we were just renting the house where we lived. Until one day forced us to leave the house which we do not anticipated, and so we face a huge problem. Now, let us watch how Roslyn solved her problem with the help of Math Finance as we study this field of mathematics with the objectives of differentiate, simple interest, and compound interest to be able to solve problems on simple and compound interest. Explain the difference between credit cards and consumer loans, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds from home ownership.
Giselle, I am here to pick up your rent for the house because you've been delayed for almost 2 weeks. And it looks like you don't have any plans to pay for your rent anymore. Because you're always like that. You always forget to pay your rent.
I'm sorry, madam. My family had a lot of problems. My husband got an accident, so he could not work for a few days. But I promise, we will pay our rent before the end of this month.
Just make sure of that. Otherwise, I have no choice but to drive you out on this house.
The owner of the house just came here, and she is very angry. She even shouted at me because we haven't been able to pay our rent for almost 2 weeks.
What? Sad to hear that, ma'am. But don't worry, I already got my salary so that we can able to pay our rent this month.
Pay is easy with BEO Debit. Just dip or tap.
Dining? Dip.
Just debit with BEO.
groceries, tap,
Just debit with BEO.
shopping, dip,
Just debit with BEO.
Movie tickets? Tap.
Just debit with BEO. It's accepted almost everywhere, even online, without paying cash.
just debit with BDO.
We also offer loans with low interest rates. Apply now!
Now, can I ask, I'm bothered about the simple interest and terms and conditions about my housing loan application. Can you explain to me what is that?
Simple interest is a quick and easy method to calculate interest on the money. The simple interest method, interest always applies to the original principal amount, which the same rate of interest for every time cycle. When you invest your money in the bank provides you interest on your amount. The interest applied the banks is of many types. One of them is simple interest. Example, I equals PRT, so P is how much money you invest in your account, which is $5,000. R is the annual interest rate, which is 7%, but in a form of decimal 0.07, so T is time or year, so the T is 5 years, so $5,000 multiplied by 0.07, which is $1,750. Now, what is the total value on your saving account at this point? So let's initially put $5,000 plus $1,750, so the total value after 5 years is $6,750.
It reminds me about my knowledge in compound interest.
Compound interest is the interest calculated on the principal in the interest accumulated over the previous period. It is different from simple interest, where interest it is not added to the principal while calculating the interest during the next period. Compound interest formula, as we have already discussed, the compound interest is the interest based on the initial principal amount in the interest collected over the period of time. The compound interest formula is compound interest is equals to amount minus principal. Here the amount is, where P is the principal balance, R is the interest rate, N is the number of times interest compounded per time period, and T is the number of time period.
To see how formula works, I will give you an example. If an amount of $5,000 is deposited into savings account at an annual interest rate of 5% compounded monthly, the following of the investment after 10 years can be calculated. So P is 5,000, R is 5 divided by 100 equals 0.05 decimal. N is 12, T is 10. So if we plug those figures into the formula, we get the following. 5,000 close open parenthesis 1 plus 0.05 divided by 12, and another close and open parenthesis 12 times 10 equals 8,235.05.
And how about my credit cards? What is the use of it?
Personal loans offer borrowed funds in one initial lump sum with a relatively lower interest rates. They must be repaid over a finite period of time. Credit cards are a type of revolving credit that give a borrower access to funds as long as the account remains in a good standing. Credit card allows you to make purchases and pay for them later. In that sense, it's like a short-term loan. When you use a credit card to make a purchase, you are essentially using the credit card company's money. So, what is the difference of credit card and consumer loans? Sum up, a consumer loan is the best choice for a large purchases that you plan to pay down over a longer periods of time, while a credit card is the best for smaller purchases that can be paid back relatively quick.
For you to have more knowledge about credit cards, here are the examples of credit card loan, which are MasterCard, American Express, Discover, and etc. Now, I will show you the steps to calculate your credit card interest. It is calculated on a daily basis. So, your APR or annual percentage rate must be converted to a daily rate. The math equation for that is annual percentage rate divided by 365 or the number of days in the year. So let's say your APR is 16%. So we go to 0.16 divided by 365. That gives us a daily periodic rate of 0.00044. Now let's talk about the methods a credit card company charges finance charges. First method, which is the unpaid balance method, wherein the finance charges are applied on the previous month's balance. Most of the credit cards issue monthly bills. So the due date on the bill is usually 1 month after the billing date. And the date the bill is prepared and sent to the customer. If you pay the bill by the due date, then no finance charges are applied. Otherwise, a finance charge is added to the next bill. So this method uses the simple interest formula to calculate the finance charge on the balances you owe to the credit card company. And the next method is the average daily balance method. So many credit card companies uses the average daily balance method to calculate the interest on the balance you have. In this method, the finance charge is based on the balance in the account for each day of the billing period. It is calculated by dividing the sum of the total amounts owed each day by the number of days in the billing period.
Ah, I see. Then what is the meaning of consumer loans? Does it have a connection with credit cards?
Good morning, ma'am. To answer your question, consumer loan is a type of loan given to customers like you to finance your specific type of expenditures. And yes, it has a connection with credit card, specifically inclined with unsecured loans. This type of loan is not protected by an asset. That is why it offers a higher interest rate ranging from 5% to 36%, and it is a short-term payment. Other examples of it are personal loan and student loan. On the other hand, secured loan are protected by an asset. The items you purchase, such as your house or your car, can be used as a collateral, and it is a common way to borrow a large amount of money. This type of loan is a long-term payment. Other examples of it are home equity loan and car loan. In general, lenders or banks like us uses credit score to depict the consumer's credit worthiness. Most of us uses FICO credit score to evaluate the probability of an individual to pay their loan in a timely manner. A credit score is a number between 300 to 850. The higher the credit score you have, the lower rate will be. I hope I answered your question well. Thank you for choosing BEO Bank. In here, we offer fast transaction and high-quality services.
Hi ma'am, I'm very happy to inform you that your housing loan has been approved. Now, you can visit the house that you avail and later, you can already move there as soon as possible. Thank you.
Oh, really? It's a good news! Mom! Guess what? I have something to show you. But you need to wear this. Okay, go open up. Surprise! Our new home. Is this our new house? Yeah. Want to go